Hello and welcome to my channel, Curly Girl Wellness, where I talk about motherhood, homemaking, health, and wellness. If you enjoy my content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to get notified whenever I upload new content. Alright, so let's get started. So today I want to talk about something that might be a little controversial to some, but is very personal and very true for me. I've always believed in it, and I thought it would be nice to share it with anyone who has like-minded views. As you saw in the title, I am living my love story with my husband, and it is exactly like something out of a fairy tale. This is my point of view, this is my story and how I view marriage. I'm not saying that you should believe in this, I'm just sharing my experience and how I view marriage and how I think that you can make any marriage flourish and feel like a beautiful, magical fairy tale love story. It all began as a little girl. I was always a hopeless romantic. I would be watching movies like the classic Cinderella, Pride and Prejudice, all of the romantic movies that you can think of. And I would watch them and rewatch them, and I knew that if I ever fell in love, it was going to be something like that. And it was. I can say that I fell in love 2 times. I fell in love twice, and even though there were difficult times in those relationships, or in my previous relationship, it was still beautiful. I got good things out of it, and I felt like my experience with that relationship was something out of a fairy tale, but you really do make that yourself. Especially my marriage, I tried to take out all of the beautiful moments more so than the difficult ones. All right, so my second point, living a fairy tale love story is not the same as happily ever after. And that just means that because I believe that you can have a love story like something out of a fairy tale, perfect and magical, that does not mean that I believe in happily ever afters. And that is because I cannot control what the future brings. I cannot control illness. I cannot control death, or some more common but less natural occurrences like falling out of love or unfaithfulness. And in my opinion, those two go hand in hand. So the first two, illness and death, are very difficult because you really cannot control when your partner will die, or they will fall sick, or you will die, or you will fall sick. And illness can be something quite powerful, and it can take quite a toll in a relationship and in the people involved. However, falling out of love and unfaithfulness really do go hand in hand with who you married. You need to make sure that, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but you need to have similar values. If you married or you're in a relationship with someone that values being committed to one another, then you will make an effort to stay in love every single day, to find ways to spark the relationship, to, yes, keep intimacy exciting and alive and make it something important. So it does go hand in hand with who you marry. It really is all about nurturing the relationship and understanding that if you're in a relationship and then you get married, that marriage requires a lot of work, daily work. It requires that you learn to fall in love every single day in new ways. It means that every single day you try to be the best version of yourself. And even if you've got days where you're not the best version of yourself, you understand that you married someone who would take you as you, with your good and your bad and all of the in-between. Our love stories, we can choose what ending we give them. You can be in love several times. You could have a fairy tale love story every single time you fall in love. Obviously, those relationships and those love stories might end, and some might end badly with a lot of heartbreak and a lot of tears and a lot of sadness. But that doesn't mean that you can't remember those relationships from all of the good things that happened, all of the beautiful moments, all of the magical moments. And at least that's what I do. I try to remember all of my relationships, all of my love stories by the good things that happened. My third point is that it all comes down to your point of view. In a marriage, in life, in general, things are going to be hard. life is going to be hard. In a marriage, you're going to fight, you're going to struggle. They're going to do things that annoy you. But if one, you choose to do nothing about it, and two, you choose to focus only on the bad, then that marriage or that relationship is going to feel extremely sad and extremely depressing and just lacking overall. However, if one, you address the issue then and there, you fix the problem then and there if you can, then you are helping your relationship. You are going on a better place. And two, you choose to focus on the good things instead of the bad things. I mean, if at the end of the day we think about everything that went wrong, our list would be endless because we like complaining. But if instead we choose to focus on what was good, even if it was very little, this helps in difficult times, in times of death, in times of illness, in times of hardship. If we can change our point of view in those moments and just try to think, instead of what is lacking, what is wrong, what is well and what is still good and what is still in place, and be grateful for that, we can really just give a little bit of light to some dark moments. And that is the same in a marriage, that is the same in a relationship. If you're in a healthy marriage, in a good marriage, and at times it gets hard, one, you need to speak up. You need to talk to your partner about what is bothering you. You need to address the issue. And two, you need to focus on what is good. Then you can make your marriage this beautiful love story, and that is what I have made with mine. I'm not saying that we don't struggle, that we don't have problems. Of course we do. But we try our best, both of us, because we chose to be with each other, because we chose to marry each other, to make an effort to every single day ask each other, what is wrong? It really just all comes down to how you view life. If you choose to look at all of the beautiful things that are happening in your marriage, all of the beautiful things that you do for each other, the way that you love each other, you could go to sleep thanking God or the universe. It all depends what you believe in. That you have a beautiful marriage because you focused on this one good thing that happened during the day. Sure that if something is bad and we are struggling in some way, we try to fix it in the moment and then move on and then try to focus on the good because we found a way to come to a happy ending. And that is the best thing for a marriage or a relationship, to speak up about the things that feel unjust or hurtful in the moment and then move on. And then, forgive, forget, and move on. Obviously, these are for simple things. I'm not talking about serious things. I'm talking about simple things, something he said, something he did that bothered you, that you can fix in the moment. My fourth point of view is choosing the right man. Not all men can make a love story feel like a fairy tale. With my husband, I remember very clearly we were good friends, and I got to know him, and I said, that is the man I want to marry. That is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. And there were certain things about my husband that attracted me to him. There were certain things about him that I knew would make my marriage feel like a fairy tale love story. And that is, one, he shared the same values as I did. He wanted to get married. He wanted kids. He wanted a slow and simple life. He understood my goals. He was supportive towards them. He was kind. He was generous. He was giving. He was compassionate. You want someone that has the same values as you in life. Someone that is aligned with what you want in life. And someone committed to helping you achieve whatever you want or whoever you want to be. That way, you're holding hands as you become a new person, and they're watching you and they're supporting you, and you can just grow and flourish. Something else that I loved about my husband, and I knew that he would make our marriage, whenever we did get married, something beautiful, is that he made me feel like a princess. And yes, like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic. I grew up watching the princess movies. I grew up watching the romantic movies. And I loved how the men in these movies made their women feel like queens, like princesses. And they lifted them up instead of bringing them down. And my husband does that with me. As you all know, I am quite extravagant. I like to dress very fancy. With my husband, when we were together, and even now he sees me and he lets me be whoever I want to be. He supports me in the new pair of fuzzy slippers I'm buying, in all of my crazy purchases. And just to give you an example, I wanted to wear the 1950s gloves. My grandmother left me a pair that was hers. They're these beautiful white gloves that you would wear in the 1950s. I remember telling him, would it be weird if I wore gloves? I know nobody does that now, but do you think it would be weird? And he looked at me and said, no, you do you. And I remember just loving him in that moment for just accepting me in whatever I wanted to do and just encouraging me to be whoever I wanted to be. And he does that every single day, and I get to feel like a princess. And our marriage feels like a love story because he supports me and he puts me up there. He makes me feel loved and absolutely beautiful every single day. He doesn't fail to do that. He is also 100% committed to be my husband. When we were dating, he was committed to being with me. But when we took a vow to be together, to be married, I saw him on a different level completely. He was 100% committed to making it work. And I'm someone that whenever things get hard, I tend to walk away, in the sense that I'd like to go for a walk. I like to think about my thoughts. And he didn't want that. He was like, no, if we're having a problem, you don't need to walk away. We need to talk about it. We need to fix it now. I need to know what I did to fix it, to help you. He was just always committed. He never gave up. He never let it just sit there. He'd always ask and insist, what's wrong? How can I help? What can I do? And that is, to me, what a 100% committed husband will do. He will try to make it work no matter what. And that does make a marriage feel like a love story. And the last thing that I saw in my husband that I knew would make him a man that would make our marriage feel like a love story was, and is, a very hardworking man. He will work day and night to provide for his family. He will put his family first. And that is super important. He is not selfish. He is not insecure. I'm sure he has some insecurities at times, like we all do. Most of the time, he is confident about who he is and how he will support his family, and he never fails to come up with new ideas to make us feel comfortable, to make us feel like we are lacking nothing. And I have felt that I have lacked nothing with him. And I know that he's always trying to make us even more comfortable, and I think that that is a beautiful thing that he has. All right, so there are 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. I knew that after doing the quiz with him that his were acts of service. Mine is quality time. I want to make sure that I was going into it knowing what made him feel loved. And his was acts of service. Doing acts of service in general made him feel loved. Mine was quality time. And in truth, my husband never fails to sit down and make me feel loved. And he spends quality time with me. So I don't feel like I'm lacking, because I feel like I do get that with him. And in his case, I make sure that I'm speaking his love language and I'm doing these acts of service. And if I feel like something is lacking in the relationship and something is wrong, it is usually because we are not making the other person feel loved with our love languages. That makes any sense. So this one was a quick one, but it's an important one for a relationship or a marriage to feel beautiful and magical. Now, my next point is a state of gratitude. And this one is super important. If you choose to be grateful, truly grateful for the simplest of things in life, you will live a fully fulfilled life. I promise you this. A life of joy, a life of happiness at all times. And this is also a practice I started from a very young age. I remember being a little girl and getting super excited because in school and I was going to go home and I was going to make myself some eggs with black beans. And I remember on my way back from school, a very difficult day of being bullied. I remember being the happiest little girl because I was coming home to make myself eggs and beans. And just being so grateful for the opportunity to make eggs and beans when I got home. And that is something I continued throughout my life. I make sure that I'm grateful every single day for the smallest of things. And that can make a marriage and a relationship feel beautiful because he did something so small that I thought was amazing. I'm not expecting these grand gestures. Something small just makes me extremely happy because I'm so grateful for this small little thing that he did. And it really does change the way that you view your marriage, the way that you view your relationship. You must adopt a graceful and grateful attitude to the small things that happen in everyday life, in your marriage, in your relationship. If I'm watching the sunrise early in the morning, drinking coffee that my husband brought to me, watching my daughter sing, I am grateful. My husband, out of nowhere, kisses me on the forehead and tells me I love you. I am grateful. If he makes me a cup of tea because I have a sore throat, and it's such a simple thing, he didn't even think about it. He thought, she has a sore throat, I'm gonna make her tea. To me, that meant everything. I am so grateful, which is why every single day feels like I'm living a fairy tale love story with my husband in my marriage, because he did something so small throughout the day and I thought it was amazing. And I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to adopt a state of gratitude for the smallest of things. And yes, when they do these big gestures for you, they mean the world to you. My husband is not one to compliment me often, and that's okay because my love language is not words of affirmation. I don't need someone telling me, you're beautiful, you're amazing. That's not how I feel loved. However, there have been moments, and I think that's why I appreciate them more, when out of the blue, maybe once a month or something, he looks at me and he goes, you look beautiful. And I feel fireworks going off everywhere, and it means the world to me. And that is, once again, because I'm just so used to small things and being so grateful for them that when these big gestures come up, like saying you look beautiful, they mean the world to me. And that is thanks to a state of gratitude. Sorry about that. Someone woke up from her nap. Yeah? You want to do it? We're going to do the advent calendar. Today is the 8th. And we're finding the 8th, the 8th, the 8th. By the way, sorry, Dad. We're going to open it without you just because I think this will make her happy. We'll save you the other half. Oh, where's the chocolate? What is in there? Chocolate, yeah. Open it. Look! It's the moon. It's the moon. All right. There you go. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to stay notified whenever I upload new content.